उद्घाट्य योगकलया हृदयाब्जकोशं धन्यैश्चिरादपि यथारुचि गृह्यमाणः यः प्रस्फुरत्य विरतं परिपूर्णरूपः श्रेयस्समे दिशतु शाश्वतिकं मुकुन्दः अमरीकभरीभारभ्रमरी मुखरीकृतं दूरीकरोतु दुरितं गौरी चरणपङ्कजं परस्परतपःसम्पत् फलायितपरस्परौ प्रपञ्चमातापितरौ प्राञ्चौ जायापतिस्तुमः. We have to do the fourth alankara. We finished with the upamana upameya. Upameya upama alankara. Now we are going to go to the Pratīpa alankara. So there are 4 or 5 varieties of Pratīpa alankara here. The word Pratīpam itself means pratilomyam. That is, there is a virodha. One becomes the other. Where the upamanam, the prasiddha upamanam, becomes the varnyam or the upameya. So pratiloma always means something that is not of the correct order, but it is in the reverse order. So Pratīpa, the name itself is reverse. So you can remember it in that manner. So Pratīpam upamanasya upameyatva prakalpanam tvallochana samam padmam twadvaktra sadrusho vidhu. Usually, when we are describing something, we try to describe what is the relevant thing for us now. Let's say the Nayaka wants to describe the Nayika. He will want to describe the eye as equal to a lotus. So the lotus becomes the popular upamanam or the standard of comparison for comparing it to the eye of the eyes of the Nayika. So usually we say Tvalochana samam padmam iti nasti. So padma samam Tvalochanam vartate is the usual way of explaining. Right? Padmam iva tava lochanam vartate. Ityeva tatra prayaha we do an explanation like that. But this alankara specifically, we are trying to say Tvalochana samam padmam. The lotus seems to be equal to your eyes. It seems to be similar to your eyes. And Twadvaktra sadrishaha vidhuhu. Vidhuhu, the moon, is sadrishaha. It is similar to Twadvaktram, your face, and not the other way around. So what is happening here? Pratīpam upamanasya upameyatva prakalpanam. We are actually comparing the eye to the lotus. The lotus is the standard of comparison. We have many such descriptions all over the place where we take Padmam as a standard, the moon as the standard. But then this upamanam is now converted into upameya. It is converted into the varnyam, that which is being described right now. So Padmam Tvallochana samam iti. So the lotus is similar to your eyes. Okay. So someone wants to go today. Shankari padikrala. Yeah.
उपमानस्य उपमानत्वेन प्रसिद्धस्य चन्द्रादेः उपमेयत्व प्रकल्पनम् इति यत् तत् प्रतीपम्.
So he is actually doing a nirvachanam for the shloka here. So here you would take it as upamanasya is equal to upamanatvena prasiddhasya chandradehe. Until then, adukapra upameyatva prakalpanam. So you are trying to make it into an upameya. So upamanam is not what is upamanam here. Here the upamanam is only lochanam. Here the upameyam is padmam. Okay, but upamanasya, when we mention upamanasya in the lakshana vakyam, we are talking about something that is well known as an upamana. Okay, so upamanatvena prasiddhasya chandradehe, those objects which are popularly called as upamana, as the standard, those have now been converted into upameya. So upameyatva prakalpanam. Yat yatra vartate tatra tu pratīpam.
प्रसिद्ध उपमान उपमेययोः वैपरीत्यकल्पनात् प्रतीप इति अन्वर्थसंज्ञा.
So I said pratilomyam. Here he is using the word vaiparityam. That's all. So prasiddha upamana upameyayoho. Yat tu upamanatvena prasiddham vartate. Yascha upameyatvena prasiddham vartate. So that which is usually the one which we describe. Iti ubhayorapi tatra vaiparitya kalpanat. That is, both of them are shifted in place. There is a different position for the two of them. Okay, that is called Pratīpa. So this is an anvartha samjna. The meaning follows the name of the alankara. Sometimes it can, sometimes it may not.
The difference between this and the upameya upama is upameya upama you have to do twice. Here we have to do only once.
Yes. So the
and
upamanam,
that too we have to do with a reverse way.
Yeah,
Normal
there
upamanam
it doesn't.
has to become.
1 minute. So in upameya upama, that what happens is the two objects that you are comparing, there need not be one which is always a standard of comparison. It can be two objects normally, but here you need to have one object which is a standard.
Correct.
Okay. There dharmaha arthaha ityatra tu dharmopi upameyatvena bhavitum arhati arthaha api upameyatvena iva bhavitum arhati. Tatra tu there is no standard upamanatvena angikritam kimapi vastu nasti tatra.
That's not conventional. हे तन्वी तव लोचन सदृशं पद्मम् इति एकम् उदाहरणं तव वक्त्र सदृशः मुखतुल्यो विदुश्चन्द्र इति अपरम् उदाहरणम्.
So now what is happening here? That is, those are the two examples that are given in the lakshya part.
So your face, the lotus is like your face, and the sun,
like your eyes.
Like your eyes, and the moon is like your face. Like that, they have given two examples. Tatra adye prasiddha upamana padmasya द्वितीये विदोः चन्द्र उपमेयत्वं कल्पितम् इति लक्षण समन्वयः. Normally these two, the lotus and the moon, are famously known as the upamanam, but here it has been reversed and made into a upameyam in these two examples.
Yes.
That's why the lakshana samanvaya happens. Upamanasya upameyatva kalpane upameyasya upamanatvam siddhyati. Because we have changed the upamanam into a upameyam, automatically the upameyam turns and becomes the upamanam.
Yes.
By default.
So the clue there would always be, where is this samam or sadrisha located? Where are you connecting that word? If you are connecting it with twallochana samam, then that it is like hamsi iva. So hamsi is the upamanam. So in this case, because the samam is connected with twallochanam, you will take that twallochanam or lochanam as the upamanam. Padma becomes the upameya. Whereas we already know by convention that only Padma can be the upamanam. Since this is a reverse order here, it is Pratīpa alankara. Okay.
Tena cha upamana apekshya upameyasya utkarshaha jyotyate. So now the upameyam has been made into a superior element compared to the upamanam, which is normally a higher quality. Here
so here, when you look at this upamanam, what does it say? It indicates the Padma and the Chandram. It does not indicate the upamanam in this particular example. We are talking about the upamanatvena prasiddhasya vastunaha apekshaya, prasiddhatu vastunaha apekshaya. So the object which is usually the standard of comparison is supposed to be the best in its category. So apekshaya, instead of that upamanam, upameyasya utkarshaha, we are talking about the greatness of the object in front of me, which I am describing, which is her eyes. Hmm? Hmm.
So that
So
has been elevated in the quality, whichever
yeah,
quality.
so this
saying that the eyes looks like a lotus. You are saying that the lotus is looking like your eyes.
correct.
That is only we are just switching that thing.
We are just switching both of them. Adudha. So usually enna hona, when we think of kanti or when we think of the shape of the eyes, let's say, or the softness, something like that, any quality that we take, there are some standards that we have, as cool as a cucumber madri, as white as snow, idella solrom illaya. So those are the standards na, those are the things that are the highest in that particular category. So that is why they are called upamanam idi. Okay, so because they are the highest in their category, they will always enjoy the status of utkarshatvam. They are the best. But what are we doing now? Since we are switching these two, now the one that has now become the upamanam will enjoy the status of being the best. That is, the eyes now become the best in comparison. அதனால்தான் இங்க வந்து when you take it as உபமான அபேக்ஷயா, you take it as பத்ம அபேக்ஷயா உபமேயஸ்ய நாயிகா லோச்சனஸ்ய ஏவ உத்கர்ஷः வர்த்ததே இதி தத்ர வியஜ்யதே. This is the suggestion that is given here, and that is the prayojanam for Pratīpa alankara, to give out that understanding that the varnyam is so much more better than the upamanam. Okay.
The scale or the unit of measure has been changed now.
Shifted right now.
तदेव प्रतीप प्रयोजनम. प्रतीपम पंचविधम तत्र idam आद्यम प्रतीपम. The first one we are now reading.
Yeah, so there are totally 5 types. The first one is just a simple switching up of both upamana and the upameya. Okay.
What's the difference between pratamam pratipam and vyatireka alankara?
Vyatireka na directa, you will say okay. So vyatireka, the utkarsham will be vachyam. When we go to vyatirekam, இந்த இடத்தை திருப்பியும் நோட் பண்ணி கேட்டுக்கோங்க, நான் சொல்றேன். ஓகே, அங்க வந்து ஆதிக்யம் து தத்ர வாச்சியத்வேன பவதி. சைலா இவ உன்னதா சந்தஹ किंतु प्रकृति कोमलाः. So the difference between the upamana and the upameya, and that one is higher than the other, is directly expressed in the shloka, whereas in the Pratīpa alankara, that utkarsha is dyotyate. It is not mentioned here.
இதுதான் பிம்பம் பிரதிபிம்பம் சொல்றதா?
அதெல்லாம் நீங்க கன்ஃபியூஸ் பண்ணிக்காதீங்க. Don't bring in others. இங்க இடத்துல வந்து these two are two different examples. There is no connection between the two examples here. அதனால அதை எடுத்துன்னு வர வேண்டாம். Yeah. Now this is the aparam udaharanam for the first type, where it is simple. Now if you had noted the example, it's a twallochana samam padmam twannetra twanbhaktra sadrisho vidhuhu illaya. Now if you parse this line, you are going to put this lochanam as upamanam and you will put padmam as the upameya. The upama vachaka shabda would be your samam here or sadrisha here. In this case, there is no sadharana dharma mentioned here. There is no common dharma is mentioned between the upamanam and the upameya. The next example, aparam udaharanam, that he gives is an example where the commonality is also given here. The common dharma, samana dharma, is also given in this case. Yatvan netra samana kanti salile magne tadindivaram meghairantaritah priyet tava mukhat chayanukari shashi yepi tvad gamananusari gatayaha te rajahamsa gataha tvad sadrishya vinodamattram api me daivena nakshamyate. இது மேக சந்தேஷம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Yeah, I think this is Megha Sandesha sloka. Yat tvannetra samana kanti tat indivaram salile magnam. So the yaksha is looking at each of the objects that are there in front of him, and he is saying, I can't find even one similarity, one object. If I try to find a similarity between you and some other object, then that object just moves away from my sight, and I'm not able to enjoy your chaya, your similarity in any object. So he is separated from the yakshi, and he wants to vinodartham tatra kimapi drashtavyam iti. To remember her face or to remember her eyes. He wants to see things that by which he can actually get rid of the grief that is there, or try to, அது சுதாரிச்சுக்கிறதும்போ அதுக்கு பாத்துக்கிறான். ஆனா he is not able to find anything like that. So twan netra samana kanti tat indivaram api salile magnam. Indivaram, the Kuvalaya pushpam, lily flower, which has the kanti, which has a luster that is samanam, equal to your eyes, has also completely submerged within the waters, and I'm not able to see it now. Meghaihi antaritaha priye twanmukha chayanukari shashi. Shashi, the moon, which anukari, which imitates tava mukha chaya, the beauty of your face. It tries to imitate the beauty of your face, and that too is now meghaihi antaritaha. Hey priye, it has been completely covered by the clouds. So I can't see the moon also to think that okay, this is at least trying to imitate your face. Iti tatrapi shashinam drashtum na shaknomi iti. Ye api twadgamana anusari gatayaha te rajahamsaha gataha. Now there are swans here which actually try to have a walk which is very similar to your walk. Anna nadai, yeah? So rajahamsaha api twadgamana anusari gatayaha. Those rajahamsa swans which have a gati, which have a walk, that is anusari, that follows your walk. Te api adhuna gataha. They also are nowhere to be seen now. Tvad sadrishya vinodamatramapi. Just to, entertain myself by looking at a small similarity between you and other objects. I try to look at that similarity, but even that sort of an entertainment, daivena me vinodamapi na kshamyate. This fate does not seem to tolerate even this little bit of entertainment that I get by looking at all of these objects, which have a trace of similarity between you, with you. Tatra vinodam kartum api tatra daivam na anumanyate. It does not let me do this, have this little pleasure also.
Because he has the shapam.
Shapam. I was just thinking if this is from Megha Sandesha or what. I don't know. It doesn't say this here. That's what I think. Atra prasiddha upamananam indivara shashi rajahamsanam upameyatva kalpanat pratīpam. Now, how does it become the upameya? Indivaram tvannetra samana kanti. So I told you how hamsi iva, when that iva ityadi upama vachaka shabdaha yena shabdena tatra anveti sa shabdaha upamanatvena svikriyate atra. So tvannetra samana kantihi yasya tat tadrisham indivaram. So this indivaram, which is the lily flower, it is a blue lily. Indivaram is usually the blue color or dark color lily flower. So it has a kanti, it has a luster which is equal to yours. So indivaram is the prasiddha upamanam. Tattu atra, we are describing the indivaram here. We are not describing her eyes because those eyes are not here. The yaksha is trying to describe this Kuvalaya pushpam as being equal to her eyes. So her eyes become the upamanam and this indivaram becomes the upameya. You have the samanam is the upamana vachaka and kanti becomes your samana dharma. The next one also, shashi is the upamanam, but now it has become the upameya. Tava mukha chaya. Tava mukham, which usually is the varnyam, that which the Nayaka wants to describe. But that has taken on the role of an upamanam here. And the upama vachaka shabda becomes your chaya, anukaranam. I think anukaranam is the chaya is the samana dharmam. Anukaranam would be the sadrishyam, vachakam. Ade ingyu anusaranam would be the vachakam, and then you have the gati as the sadharana dharma. Tvad gamanam. नायिकायाः गमनं तु तत्र उपमानत्वेन स्वीकृतं राजहंसानां गतिः तु तत्र उपमेयः. Okay. So
अत्र प्रसिद्ध उपमानानाम् इन्दीवर शशि राजहंसानाम् उपमेयत्वकल्पनात् प्रतीपम् कान्त्यादि साधारणधर्माणाम् अत्र उपादानम् अस्ति इति पूर्वस्मात् वैलक्षण्यम्.
Because the sadharana dharma has been mentioned in this shloka, it is different from the earlier example. That is that half line example. Yeah. Okay. Kantyadi ityeva uktam. So we take it as, I think in Rasika Ranjani he would have given a little bit more about the what are all the kantimatvam. Where are those ulirpar? நான் சொன்னது ரைட் தான். I'm just trying to just correlate with that and see whether he has given. No.
But in the அண்ணன் நடைங்கிறது வந்து it will only refer to females இல்லையா?
ஆமா. Hopefully in kavyam we will just take it that way. Thank you very much. Dvitiyam
So this example is from Ritu Samharam, and I think in this Rasika Ranjani commentary that you just showed, in the first line he says Varsha Ritu in the beginning here. Atra Varsha Pravasinaha iti.
Okay.
So it's from Ritu Samharam. And so the other thing which
where does it say Ritu Samharam?
அது சொல்லல. Google la பார்த்தேன். Google வந்து it shows me the verses.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay.
But you can see the connection here. Ritu pravasinaha iti uktam.
Varsha Ritu pravasinaha. So those adena because it is Varsha Rituhu meghaihi antaritaha shashi iti. The clouds completely cover the moon, and Rajahamsa, the swans move away due to transmigration. No, so they move. Rains, they don't want to be there, so they are moving. And water falls, and because of the vrishti, the lotus or lily completely submerges within the water.
Yeah, it fits very well with the. It's beautiful. So I just wanted to make a comment on this word Pratīpa, which means, contrarily, it means going against the current. And so usually the Upamanam is the standard and Upameya is it's compared. Here we're doing the reverse, so we're going against the flow.
Yeah.
So the word Pratīpa is very well chosen.
Pratilomyam or Vaiparithyam eva tatra.
Vaiparithyam. So the word itself gives a clue as to what the nature of the alankara is.
Yes. Now the second one is an extra adding of something else here. So anyopameya labhena varnyasya anadaraha cha tat. Now the prasiddha upamanam is there. That prasiddha upamanam has now become the upameya. Till that part, we saw the first Pratīpa example. Now, what we are doing now, since that Utkrishta Vastu now has become the Upameya, now we are saying this Varnyam should, we don't want this Varnyam at all. That is, or there is a பொருட்படுத்தாமல் இருக்கும் தன்மை இருக்கு அதுல. அனாதரஹா, அது ரொம்ப ஒரு ஒதுக்கிடுறது. எப்படி சொல்றது அத? திரஸ்காரஹா பவதி தஸ்ய வர்ணியஸ்ய. You are disregarding the whole thing. Okay.
पुनः वर्ण्यः नाम कः अन्यः कः वर्ण्यः?
So enna first is anyat avarnyam eva tatra upamanam.
Avarnyam is upamanam. Okay.
Avarnyam is always upamanam. Varnyam is what we are describing. Okay. But what we are describing now has become the upamanam because we took the prasiddha upamanam as the upameya. Upamanasya upameyatva kalpanam, right? When that is happening, the varnyam itself, when you see the example, you will understand. Alam garvena te vaktra, kantya chandraha bhavadrishaha. So, he vaktra, oh face. So, the Nayaka is looking at the Nayika, or a Sakhi is looking at the Nayika's face and saying, hey, or the Nayika herself is looking at her own face in the Darpanam and saying, you know what, don't worry, you're Alam Garvena, enough of being so arrogant about yourself. Te Chandraha, te Kantya, Bhavadrishaha Bhavati. So the moon is very similar to you in Kanti. So alam te garvena, enough of your arrogance. So what is happening here? Chandra is usually this utkrishta upamanam. Now what we are taking it as an upameya here. Chandraha bhavadrishaha bhavat sadrishaha iti vaktram vadati. So it is equal to you. What is happening here? When you say it is equal to you, then that you part will become the upameya, upamanam, which is the vaktram is the upamanam. Bhavadrishaha, tatra upama vachaka shabdaha vartate, drishi iti. Tava iva drishyate iti. So then bhavadrishaha iti. Then that indicates that the vaktram has become the upamanam, Chandra has become the upameya, and the kantya Chandraha eva vartate iti karanat alam garvena. You're also saying you don't need to feel so arrogant about yourself. There is an anadaratvam or tiraskaraha with respect to the face. Yeah.
It sounds like a backhanded compliment. The person is still complimenting the lady.
Absolutely.
So it's actually a compliment.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So we are trying, the moment we switched the places between Upamanam and Upameyam, we have already said that the Upameya is better than the Upamanam.
Yes.
But only in the previous example that kind of better was kind
Conveyed.
of obvious. But here, by doing this tiraskara, we are not exactly elevating the status of the normal
Play.
upameya.
It's play. The poet is playing with the lady. It's actually a better alankara because he's complimenting it and he's acting as if your face is much better than the moon. That he's actually making. It's more charming because he's complimenting her in a as if tiraskara tu. Nijasti tiraskara nasti.
I would say it is more like a sarcastic way of rejecting.
But actually speaking, backhanded compliment is not quite a compliment. Backhanded compliment is a compliment, and then there is a certain amount of hurt implied in the process. In a backhanded compliment. It's not anadara, it is, I don't know what it is. Anadara is not quite that, but the intent is not to say, oh, you are like Chandran Mari, brighter, Mari.
Yeah, it's not cynicism though. I think it's actually playing with the lady, right?
I completely understand. I'm just saying it's not a backhanded compliment. It doesn't sound like that. If what you say is true, you cannot say it's a backhanded compliment. That's all.
How you look at this is, she herself is probably has been rejected by the Nayaka, and she is looking at her face and saying, you know what, he probably prefers the moonlight to your face. And she is looking at herself and saying, I would take the context like that. Of course, yes, he likes you. He has praised you like that. But then now look at it. He has not called you at all. அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி you take the context.
Description, madam.
Description இல்ல. It is a part of Vipralamba Shringara there.
இது எப்படி இருக்குனாக்கா, who is that guy who is not somebody who is not known to be, for example, Humayun is not known to be a very mighty warrior, right? It's like calling, you're not good enough.
Okay, I guess.
It's not a compliment then.
இது எனக்கு சொல்ல தெரியல. Okay.
Actually, this Garvena only made it more complicated here.
அலங்கர்வேன அதான் அதுதான் பாயிண்டே அங்க. சோ அனாதரகாவ பண்றதுதான் பாயிண்டே. சோ இப்ப போரும் உன்னோட ரொம்ப நீ உன்னை பத்தி நினைப்பு போரும், உன்னோட இதுல சந்திரனே இருக்கானே அப்படிங்கறச்சு இட் இஸ் ஆக்சுவலி சேயிங் யுவர் ஃபேஸ் இஸ் as beautiful as the சந்திரா தான் சொல்றது. That is what he is trying to mean here.
अत्रापि उपमेयस्य उत्कर्षः द्योतत् व्यज्यते एव किल? अत्रापि उपमेय व्यङ्ग्यमेव किल? अत्रापि
I guess
the Hindi Vyakyakara
it is
is
not
kind of
directly told, right? Vyangya.
The Vyangyam part is agreeable, but only whether it is Utkarsham or equality or lower. Out of the three, which one? Each one has a different interpretation.
I think the Hindi Vyakyakara is basically saying that this example is even more charming than the first example. It's kind of which I can agree, because if you think of a very playful pair of lovers, so one says to the lady, "Oh, enough, do romba garopadada, like the moon irukku illaya, is as beautiful as your face," அப்படின கிண்டல்ல பண்றது மாதிரி,
அத பரிகாசமா எடுத்துக்கலாம். அத டெஃபினட்டா பரிகாசமா தான் எடுத்துக்கலாம்.
Right. So it's I think it's not sarcasm, neither is it cynicism. It's kind of elevating her by acting as if it's normal that only the moon can kind of approach her beauty. So anyway, yeah, I think there can be different opinions, as you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just take it as anadara. As long as that anadara part is there, that is fine. The lakshana samanvaya is happening here. Adik mela kodanjada namakku problem. Okay, we'll go with the vritti.
Anya darpanam
avarnyam.
अन्यत् अवर्ण्यम् उपमानं तद्रूपं यद् उपमेयं तस्य लाभेन प्राप्य वर्ण्यस्य मुखादेः प्रकृतस्य अनादरः तिरस्कारः इति यत् तत् द्वितीयं प्रतीपम्.
So anyat avarnyam, something else which is not our context. In this case, anyat avarnyam ityukte chandraha. We have already gotten that as an upameya. Tadrupam yat upameyam. Chandra rupam yat upameyam. Tasya labhena. Chandrasya labhena eva. Praptya. So here, anya upameya labhena. He is doing a nirvachanam for that. So anyat ityukte avarnyam, or that which is usually accepted as a standard of comparison, which is the upamanam. Tadrupam yat upameyam. So anya upameyasya labhena. So upamana rupam yat upameyam tasya labhena. Because of the prapti or getting Chandra as the upameya, what is happening? Varnyasya mukhadehe prakritasya. So varnyasya anadaraha. The prakritam or our context which is describing the face of the lady. That there is an anadara for it, there is a tiraskara for it. You are rejecting it in some way. That is the second type of pratīpa.
उपमानस्य उपमेयत्व कल्पने समाने अपि वर्ण्यस्य अनादरः अत्र विशेषः. Compared to the first one, the extra thing that is being added in the second pratīpam is the anadaraha part. हे वक्त्र ते तव गर्वेण अलं गर्वः मास्तु यतः कान्त्या गुणेन चन्द्रः अपि भवादृशः त्वत्तुल्यः अस्ति इति उदाहरणम्. So don't be so proud and haughty. Even the moon is equal to your face. So enough of your garvam. अत्र अवर्ण्य चंद्र रूप उपमेय लाभेन वर्ण्यस्य मुखस्य गर्वो मास्तु इति अनादर वर्णनात् लक्षण समन्वयः.
So usually you try to see inge anya upameya labhena ityasti. So what you take it as anya avarnya upameya chandrarupa upameyasya labhena varnyasya mukhasya. That is what he is just doing the connection word by word there. So garvaha mastu alam garvena iti anadaraha anadarasya varnanat lakshana samanvayah. You have connected the lakshana with the lakshya in this manner. Mm. So the second example here, Garvam Asambahyam imam lochana yugalena kim vahasi badre santi idrishani dishi sarassu nanu neela nalinani. Asambahyam Garvam Asambhavyam irukku original.
Asambhavyam imam.
Asambhavyam na irukku.
Apicha 2 times dishi sarassu is there. Not one time.
Yeah. Santi idrishani dishi sarassu nanu neela nalinani. Ama rendu irukku. Lana saripattu. Yeah, we need both here. Garvam Asambhavyam imam lochana yugalena imam lochana yugalena imam asambhavyam garvam or asamvahyam garvam, both can be the same. Kim vahasi bhadre, hey bhadre, with your eyes, your 2 eyes, why are you having such a great arrogance about it? Asambhavyam ityukte, something that you cannot அதாவது யோசிக்க முடியாத ஒரு கர்வத்தை நீ வந்து வச்சுட்டு இருக்கியே அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி, தூக்க முடியாத ஒரு கர்வத்தை தூக்கின்னு இருக்க, தாங்கின்னு இருக்க அப்படின்னு. An arrogance that you cannot even hold up to. Why are you having it? Because you don't need that sort of an arrogance. There are other things that are equal to you, which is santi idrishani dishi sarassu, in all the lakes in every direction. Idrishani neela nalinani santinanu, there are definitely many more lotuses like this. You have only 2 eyes, whereas all of these lakes have many lotuses, just like your eyes. So there is actually bahunam upameyanam tatra vartate prayah. I don't think he has said anything. Sadharana dharmastu na upattaha iti purva udaharana beda. There can also be another thing where there is an atyanta tiraskara of all of those, of the 2, with using many lotuses. Appadi eduthikalam.
So only upameyam is just only one, but then there are many of the same kind, lot of lotuses. It's not like different kinds of upameyam is not telling, only one upameyam neela nalinam, but that one itself, many of it is
many there. Are there in dishi everywhere. There are so many lotuses. You are just having 2 eyes, and why are you feeling so great about it? Yeah.
The beauty of those 2 eyes outshines the beauty of those many lotuses.
Many lotuses. Yeah, that is the point here.
So that's the greatness of the 2 eyes, right?
Yeah. Aduna utkarshaha eva. Upameyasya utkarshatvam eva tatra dyotyate iti. That is the prayojanam for Pratīpam.
Yeah.
अत्र नीलनलिनानाम् उपमेयत्वं प्रकल्प्य लोचनयुगलस्य वर्ण्यस्य गर्वो मास्तु इति अनादरः दर्शितः. So we have made the blue lotuses into upameyam. Normally they are upamanam, and we have changed them and made into a upameyam. And then they are being compared to the pair of eyes, and the superiority of the eyes is being shown like this. And don't show any garvam like that.
Is the anadara there?
Tiraskara. Like sadharana dharmastu.
So the anadara is mandatory?
Yes. That is the lakshanam here.
Except the first.
In the second variety of Pratīpam. So this is the dvitiyam variety, which is a additional part is being added to the first Pratīpam. The first Pratīpam is where there is a reversal of order. In the second Pratīpam, not only is there a reversal of order, you're also saying varnyasya anadaraha.
So both are Pratīpa. If you have a tiraskara, it is second version.
Second version.
साधारण धर्मस्तु न उपातः इति पूर्व उदाहरणात् भेदः. Here we have not mentioned the sadharana dharma. Before we had mentioned the kanti, all that things, and here we have not mentioned it.
Yes. Okay.
So usually in the Nayaka and the Nayika's wordplay, the Nayika will sometimes have a false anger, right? Similarly, I think the Nayaka's words here are trying to to teenradu, like actually he's complimenting her a lot, but he's trying to act as if it should raise her anger. So she's not sure now whether to be angry or to be happy. So it's kind of making that situation. Am I right? Like that's
Mrisha, it's like the shlokam Mrisha kritva gotra skhalanamata vailakshanamitam. Idla Saundarya Laharila varum. Gotra skhalanam tu tatra Mrisha kritva. Parameshwaran வந்து he by பொய்யா ஒரு மித்யா ரூபேண தத்ர அன்யஸ்யாஹ கஸ்யாபி நாம தத்ர he says somebody else's name instead of saying Ganga or Vijaya or something like that, he doesn't say Parvati's name. So Mrisha kritva gotra skhalanam atha vailakshanamitam, and then he is also saying, oh my god, I made a mistake iti. So parihasena tesham madhye there is a love quarrel between the two of them, and then to pacify her he falls at her feet. So that's the shloka there. Adnala Ganga vandu ati pavanam because it touches the feet of Ambal Devi.
Yeah, I mean the point is you have to raise the interest of the heroine. So you have to kind of make her angry, make her happy. You got to, you can't just leave it as okay, vandingla ukkaringa ponga.
Sometimes viparithamavum mudiyumla. Shivan calls her Kali and she becomes very angry and she goes down to do tapas. So appo adu enna pandrathu?
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to draw the fine line. So they catch the tail of the tiger.
So, but there is far away from all this literary dance and drama, there is a normal example, right? Where you go and say, if somebody is singing well, or very well, you come and say, while Saraswati Tandava Madra, things like that. Where you actually elevate the skill of the person to some level of extremity.
Yes.
But that is not anadaraha.
You never do an anadara there. Yartiyume you don't go and say enna nee romba paadradha nenappa unakku ava Saraswatiye irukale அப்படிங்கற மாதிரி நம்ம சொல்ல மாட்டோமே. That's not in normal parlance.
So the point is this happens at least if you are good at math or whatever, people come and say, oh Anna Pulla Ramanujan Marina. So what I'm saying is it is funny. The guy is rich. You see what I'm saying? So there is. I have seen that. I have not seen the anadara component in a day-to-day application of the context.
Yes, but, it is not. Anadara is never used in a day-to-day common. You see it only in Kavyam.
More between Nayaka and Nayika, right? More in that Sringara kind of play.
Yeah,
right?
context. With Ratikeli. Appodan it makes more sense. Okay.